Can't
Bye.
wait till you get a hog tattooed on your hog.
Favorite people the CIA pays.
I only know of one because of the recent tongue sucking fiasco. Can you imagine?
The image alone is disturbing.
Yeah. So, like, even as an adult, the Dalai Lama kisses you multiple times on the mouth and then tells you to suck his tongue. What do you do?
No, thank you.
Record it for your OnlyFans.
I don't know. Maybe there's nothing we can say that hasn't already been said. I gotta say, when I saw the headline, Dalai Lama regrets telling child to suck my tongue, it totally broke my brain. I was like, wait, what? Like, I would regret that too.
It is a regrettable thing to have done.
Well, then the reference was, they were like, well, because Gandhi also did some messed up shit where he was just like laying in, after his wife passed away, laying in bed with underage girls as a way to ensure his celibacy. And it's just like, but could you not though, please?
Man. Yeah. This is why.
Just when you think Christianity has like the...
Yeah, they really did
has a monopoly.
Kind of
I mean,
none of them do.
They still might.
It's again, it just comes
big numbers.
It comes down to that whole thing of like, once you put someone in an unquestionable position, they're invariably going to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
The power goes right to the noggin,
right, or the tongue, wherever it ends up.
All of a sudden,
a friend texted me after that headline came out. What is in his tongue that a child must suck out?
There's been a lot of things said about this. And as I was saying, the listeners, you don't know, I was saying before we started recording that I feel oversaturated with Dalai Lama tongue discussion. But
Dalai Lama tongue discussion. All of it just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers. But I have not read a thing that says like, what is there some sort of translation, not that makes it forgivable. But
maybe.
What is the direct translation? Like, what the fuck are we missing?
Is this a CIA op? Like, did they give him a stream of code words to make him just start demanding children to suck his tongue?
That's like the way that they know that he needs to be like airlifted out immediately.
Yeah.
Like, danger, suck my tongue.
Viper, condor, snow cone. Sibilants.
I really like that.
And then suddenly he's
Viper and
just turned on.
Viper, condor, snow cone. We've gone completely unhinged.
That's my code. All right. Well, I guess we'll just leave it at that. Why don't we start the show?
All righty.
Heck yeah.
Voices, the things they said. Voices, some from those dead. All the voices heard. Voices, things we say. Voices, they're in your head. All the voices heard.
Oh, hello, everyone. We have Kempa.
And Shannon.
And PJ.
And we are here with another episode of Voices River City for your ear holes. But before we begin,
what
be a good
the
one today.
fuck is going on?
What is happening? It's my CIA trigger. It's got me speaking in tongues. All right. Before we begin, folks, we love what we we do. If you love what we do, consider becoming a patron and giving me speech lessons so I can afford them. Little as $5 a month, you'll get patron-only content. We are hopefully this month, I know people don't like when I say that and don't have a date, doing a patron-only meetup. And yeah, a lot of really exciting, cool things to come on the show. So definitely stay tuned and also give us money. Moving on to the show.
And also, we will take your money.
Money. We won't demand that you lick our tongue or suck our tongues. We
Or
will
lick
demand that you
them.
lick our tongue. That's the workaround.
Yeah, there you go. Much better.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
all about
begin
flexibility here.
with a feel-good story of the week by Teresa Clift at the Sacramento Bee. Who wants to give us the rundown on what is happening at a Sacramento County facility?
I would say in the vein of the county and the local government never wanting to ever build housing, they are now repurposing every building in sight except building housing and basically shoving foster kids into former detention facilities because nothing, as the article said, nothing speeds up the school to prison pipeline than just putting them directly in prison while they're still in the school.
Yeah, so it's like what, between like 12 and 16 foster youth a day are at this former detention center facility, youth detention center.
And they have been for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. Yeah, speaking of headlines that break your brain, it's like, how are we doing this?
Well, and prior to that, they were in an office space that was deemed to be non-workable by state officials, and their thought was office space not workable. Why not a detention facility? That seems better, right, guys?
Oh my God. I mean, I had heard rumblings about that office space and the things that were going on there, but I wasn't able to confirm anything. But I don't think locking up kids that aren't convicted criminals is a very good answer to any of that. Or I guess they claim that they've been able to come and go, right?
Right.
Yeah, so let's go ahead.
Oh, the other thing about this is that the county has, I guess, been advised that this is not an ideal situation. There was a letter sent to them in late September of last year, just stating that like the physical space of the facility, well, the direct quote is the physical space of the facility and the facility environment has potential to re-traumatize or trigger youth, leaving children to feel physically and psychologically unsafe. And the folks in charge over there, like, yeah, but we're just going to keep doing this. So deal with it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I guess their argument is there's nowhere for them to go right now.
yeah, that's the argument that they lay out in the in this piece here. But then they also, when asked to let the Bee in to look at the space, wouldn't do it. So it's like, if this really is about repurposing a space that one,
I mean, if you think it's appropriate whatsoever,
right, then just show the people.
Yeah.
Show the people the space that the kids are living in, right? Like,
Yeah, that's shady. It's really bad. It takes a bad thing and makes it look a lot worse. And it makes you think the thing is a lot worse now, than even reported.
yeah, and I mean, I think that the county has not shown to be great when it comes to foster kids anyway. Like, historically, there has been problems with foster kids and placement and, where they are placed when they're like removed from families in an emergency situation. And, you know, there's been multiple stories done on like the Sacramento Children's Home and all of that. And I think this really does just like take us, it's the next logical thing to think that the county is just fucking up even harder, right? Like,
Right.
they're not giving us any reason not to believe that.
And you know, it all comes back to their budget priorities too. Like, no, we want to build
Yeah.
a new prison downtown as opposed
Right.
to build housing for foster youth. Like,
Well,
that's their priority.
And if we're to believe the timeline, like they knew that this was something that was needed when they voted on the expansion of the jail.
Right.
So out of the priorities, they chose the jail over this.
Yeah.
Over rushing this, which I feel like any official who actually cared about the children that are in their care would absolutely try and rush this, like do anything possible to make some other workable solution.
The whole foster system is, I mean, that's no secret in the U.S. It's incredibly fucked.
yeah.
Sacramento County is no exception at all.
Right.
One of the first stories I ever wrote for the News and Review when I moved out here was about foster youth that basically they aged out. They live in a bando off Del Paso. Probably still don't live there, but like, you know, and like they were just homeless youth after they aged out of the system because there's nothing for them. There's no safety net. And now in this situation, it's deteriorated to a point where it's not like you turn 18, you know, good luck. Now it's like, you're in the system and we're going to put you in prison-like conditions with cameras everywhere and showers that timers don't work.
The only thing that changes with your 18th birthday is now we're locking the cell.
Yeah.
It's so bonkers. I think like this is one of those things that breaks my brain when I think about like, you know, this piece outlines it that like September of 2020 is when the county stopped housing children at the Sacramento at the Children's Receiving Home, and August of 2022 is when they moved them to the detention facility. Like the county cannot get this shit right. I was gonna say no matter how hard they try, but I don't think that they're trying very hard.
So, like, what is there even to fucking say about this? It's just it's an incredibly dark story, and what their answer is in it is, oh, we need to pass legislation that like speeds up the home finding process or like allows, you know, extended relatives to take you in more easily. And it's like, I mean, sure, but you got to make sure you're going to a safe home. And also, like, housing is a human right, and this is not an example of housing being a human right. You're putting them literally in a jail.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just like the question, what even is there to say about it is it's bonkers because it is a good question. Like in this scenario, what more is there to say? This is fucking horrible, and the county really should have to respond to this with immediate action. But of course, they're not. I think this does, you know, it brings up conversations around housing and our priorities around housing and our priorities around social supports that are put in place by local government. Interestingly, I think it's worth mentioning that the county is the body that has the bigger budget and that has the
what, like $6 billion?
$6 billion?
Yeah.
$1 billion. And they continue to mismanage those funds. Again, not surprising, but they could make different choices. And oftentimes, like, so many conversations come up around like, but the kids, we got to help the kids. And but whose kids, right? Like, I think they're just making it like very clear that you have to be part of a very special club to get the support that is a human right. And it fucking sucks. Like,
yeah. I actually know this location. When I was running COVID testing in the jails, I also did a community testing site that was for county workers at a small building on that complex, which was like an old abandoned youth detention facility. And actually, when I first read this article, I was thinking, is it this building that I was working in that they're staying in? Because if it is, like, that's really unconscionable. It was kind of a scary place. We ended up, COVID testing ended around that time, but we had to be out by a certain day anyway, because they were going to turn this old former youth detention facility that has like a bunch of, bedrooms, I'd say up to 18 or something. I don't know the right number. But it'd been sitting there idle for like 20 some years. They were refurbishing it to turn it into, I think they said, a senior living facility for like homeless seniors, unhoused seniors. And so I was initially, when I heard this, I was like, was it in that building? But the picture taken in the story by Renee Beyer is the main facility, the main Warren E. Thornton Youth Center. And that one is, I mean, it's more modern, but it's much, much more jail-like. And so if they're staying in there, like, both of these seem like a horrible thing.
well, they got moved to, right? Like, so in this piece, they talk about the kids being moved from 3701 Branch Center Road. And that space was like inspected and found not to be suitable for kids to live in it. And then they got moved to the space that you're talking about. And still, either way, there is still no state license attached.
And yeah, I mean, so what happens? How does our government get away with being so
inept,
so incredibly inept, and funding literally everything the cops ask for, and then when it comes to children, they find abandoned buildings to put them in. They don't monitor things. A lot of these kids get in trouble at night, outside, this is how, these are the monetary decisions we make. And our monetary decisions are, as someone we know likes to say, that reflects what our morals are.
Yeah. And what's going to end up happening is that, so the county was issued notice that the facility at the detention center is operating without a license, which is in violation of health and safety code.
Mm-hmm.
And continuing to operate as such could result in civil or criminal action being taken against the county. So what's going to end up happening, that it's going to cost fucking money, and the county's going to have to pay out on who knows what kinds of fines and fees and all that shit.
And just like the trauma a kid already has gone through to end up in this situation.
Yeah.
And
but if you think about it, like historically, these are like a lot of the places that these foster kids come from are the exact same people that the county already doesn't care about. It's
Yeah.
going to be the poorer
Right.
folks. It's going to be the more diverse folks whose, parents were taken away due to shitty drug wars. So it's just going to be a compounding of traditional problems that we've always misaddressed.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, and I don't know, this is not an area that I'm like super familiar with, but it seems like, as with most things in Sacramento, there just needs to be like a fucking system overhaul, like from the bottom up, start over. Because like if they're saying the issue is, well, we're not finding appropriate placements for our foster youth, well, then why aren't you finding appropriate placements for foster youth, and addressing being able to address that, along with so many other things, right? Like, and in the meantime, give these kids a place to stay that feels like home, not an actual, I was going to say not like jail, but they are in an actual jail.
Right.
They are in fucking cells. Like, they are sleeping on metal bunk beds with metal toilets in the cells. These children, 12 years old. Oh, I hate it here. It's
When this story came out, I was like, I wasn't emotionally prepared to read it for like a day or two. When I saw the headline, I was like, fucking what?
Really? Like, really now again? Can you,
Yeah.
how?
yeah, it's bad.
What a great county executive we must have. We're making great decisions. Well, I don't know if there's anything to add to this. Should we, like, there's no call to action. Like, it's just like, I'm just like gobsmacked with how horrific all of this is.
Yeah.
Well, what's worse is that that they know that wasn't going to get approved. They know it wasn't going to be okay because they already got the state letter once,
And they
and
hadn't
it's like,
changed
and so
shit.
they didn't ask for the license preemptively because they knew it wasn't going to be okay.
Well, folks, hashtag vote. It's gonna make a difference.
Hashtag Biden 2024.
Like, look at us.
I cannot.
Look at this
That.
community taking care of one another. That's great. Let's move on.
Okay.
Speaking of
voting,
hashtag voting, and increasingly senile leaders who can't, do bad things. That's we'll call back to the intro, folks.
In case you haven't been following.
Can someone talk to me about this Senator Dianne Feinstein and how what's going on with her? 89 years old.
She
still kicking.
She is an aged woman.
a member of the gerontocracy, some would say.
Heard.
Sounds a little ageist.
Here's the deal. She hasn't voted since February 16th. So the Senate has voted 57 times since the last time she
That's bad.
was in the room. Some of those votes, most votes have involved confirmation of judges, and shit's happening, and she's not there to push the yes or no button.
Yeah, so the Senate is pretty split. It's 50-49 Democrats to Republicans, and then Kirsten Sinema, who's an independent. But she tends
and then there is Kirsten Sinema.
Yeah. Who, she's a friend of the show.
She's a friend. She is a friend of the show. She is.
If you read the
also a
LA Times, folks, you know that we like her. And so she, anyway, so Feinstein has been out. And then on top of that, Fetterman from Pennsylvania, Democrat,
He did a stroke.
he had a stroke during the campaign.
That's
but
right.
After
Mental
the stroke,
health.
while in office, his long-time depression that he's had has worsened, right? Because he's going through this very difficult time trying to come back from a stroke.
As it does, yeah.
So he checked himself inpatient 6 weeks. And so it's 49-49 basically in the Senate. Kamala Harris has had to, I think it was like at least 7 times, something like that, maybe not that many, be the tiebreak vote, because that's how it works in the U.S. Senate. The vice president is the tiebreaker. All of this is to say that, things are sort of not,
they're sort of not okay.
Things are sort of not okay in the Senate at large. Thankfully, Fetterman is back. But the biggie is the Senate Judiciary. Thank you.
Patreon, folks.
Pay for Dave's
dollar
speech
bills.
class.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
Oh my God. What's that other one? The flaming something was denied a bank loan.
I have not heard that one.
Okay, so she sits on Dianne Feinstein, 89-year-old senator, like suffering obviously from dementia, is on this committee, right? She has like, there's like this open secret that she has like the most talented staff in the Capitol because they're doing all
because they've had
basically.
They're a senator.
Yeah.
They've had to be helped. Yeah, they are collectively a senator.
I don't know if you all remember this. We did an episode on this like 2.5 years ago. She like the open secret became out in the open that like she was losing her faculties.
Mm-hmm.
Not only forget stuff, she forgot when like Dick Durbin that like or somebody, some senator, somebody like went up to her and had to do the difficult task of saying, hey, you're no longer going to be the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, because of what you're going through. And she forgot, and they had to have that conversation again. Like,
sure. I mean, that.
I was saying, and the retirement announcement had the same thing happen. Like she was like, no, we haven't announced that. And it was just like, you did.
Right. I forgot about that.
And that was more recently. And then, so this is now we have Ro Khanna who's calling for Ro Khanna being let's see. Is he from?
He's a representative from California. I'm not sure where exactly.
Fremont.
He is one of the co-chairs. He was sort of eyeing basically this seat. So that's interesting that he would come out and say it's time for her to step down. But after a real progressive joined the race for that seat, for the Senate seat, the current people in the race are Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, and Barbara Lee, all of them Californian. Why do I keep wanting to say assembly members? Representatives.
Reps, yeah.
But anyway, when Barbara Lee put her hat in the ring, then Ro smartly decided that he wouldn't do that because she really is the only true progressive. So all of this is to say he's the co-chair of Lee's campaign, and he came out and said this. So that was kind of interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think his tweet said, well, she has had a lifetime of public service. It is obvious she can no longer fulfill her duties.
Patreon.com/Voices River City.
We speaks good.
We have all the words.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, this is not Feinstein. The Feinstein conversation is not a new one, right? She has for years now been showing signs of decline, which makes sense on account of
Eight.
89 years old.
Yeah.
And that's not like, she's almost 90 years old and she is still a senator. Like, that is not, it's not saying that like 89-year-olds can't do cool shit. It's just saying like, holy fuck, she's 89 years old. She's been working this like a lifetime of political shit. And it makes sense that like that she would start to decline.
What I would say,
I
some
don't think-
folks, I would say some folks have said that it's like, you know, ageist to call her out on that, and especially given that there's so many other older men. But I would like to point out that I feel like a lot of progressives have pointed out the issues with a gerontocracy, who gets on committees and talking to TikTok CEOs and start asking idiotic questions because they don't understand how technology works. And it's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have, you know, the silent generation in some cases running these committees and being and running until they die, running until in office until they die. Like, it makes no sense.
I can, you know, like, I can hold a lot of space for the ageist and the sexist narrative that this is, you know, this is ageism and this is sexism. In a lot of spaces, like, I am down to have that conversation. I do not think that is what any of this is.
No.
Like, this is somebody who is clearly, as I said previously, showing signs of decline, not remembering just like basic details. We need a person who can go to meetings and recall basic info from those meetings in order to inform a vote. And she is unable to do just the basic tenets of her job. And so this is about saying like, yo, how about resigning? Enjoy what time you have left. And also, if you resign, then Barbara Lee is the front runner for that seat.
Well, that's the thing. That's it right there. And that's the crux of it, because I think the people saying that this is sexism and ageism, I think they're saying it in bad faith. Because I think they want a Adam Schiff or a Katie Porter to win this seat. Now, if Barbara Lee gets placed in this seat, as basically the governor had promised that if she steps down, Feinstein steps down early, a Black woman will take the seat. That puts her in the driver's seat for re-election, and none of the other people will be able to beat her probably in the next round. So this is a political play by the mods or by the white women who claim they're progressives who are really into Katie Porter. And like, when you say it's sexism, it's like, no, the progressives who are saying with very real reason, like, this person who can't conduct their job should step down. The person that they want in this position, or they many of us assume will be in the position, is a woman. If it's ageism you're claiming, no, the person that progressives are saying should be in the seat, should she step down, is 76 years old.
Right.
It's about being able to perform the tasks of the job. When you have the fucking hosts of the fucking lib Pod Save America saying this, that it's time for her to step down.
Seriously.
Like,
yeah.
Look, come on. So the Senate Judiciary Committee, we didn't really dive deeply into that. There are 11 members who are Democrats and 10 who are Republicans on this committee. Now, there is no tie-breaking vote by the vice president in this committee. So you need everyone present if you're going to, let's say, have a vote that actually gets judges passing through and out into the world, performing their duties, right? Judges that the president has appointed. So Dick Durbin, the new head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, that is one of my words, man. That's a real tough one for me.
Patreon.com
/Voices River City. He has said, she's been gone since what? February 16th. I think that was her last vote on the Senate
Yeah, that
floor.
sounds right.
Dick Durbin confirmed that since she's been gone, like, they've had trouble passing judges through because they need all 11 Democrats.
Right.
So, like, this is a real problem. And all the Democrats out there are claiming it's not. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't, it all feels like kind of bad faith.
Do we have, I don't suppose we have any idea who would fill her position in the event that she did retire? Because, I mean, since most of those positions, those appointments to the committees are seniority based, it wouldn't be her, it wouldn't be Barbara Lee if she ended up getting appointed. It would be some other person that's already in the Senate, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it would be some other Democrat. And who?
Yeah, so it's just like,
fuck. They're all the same.
So it's just like regardless, it's going to be good because we're going to get someone in there, and it's not necessarily going to have to be Barbara Lee. So it's just like, so yeah.
Yep. So that's great.
Man, these topics suck. I don't know. I guess
we can bring it back to the Dalai Lama if you want.
No,
oh
I'm
God,
good. I'm so good off that.
I hate it here.
Suck my tongue. Okay, sorry, I'm taking us off track.
Well, patreon.com/Voices River City.
I can suck my own tongue.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I'm interested to see like how all this. I'm just ignoring you now. I'm interested to see how all of this shit rolls out. Wait, I did. Did I see? No, I didn't. Never mind. Sorry, I know that was like such a huge pregnant pause, and everybody got super excited about some tea. I don't know. I'm tired of people being upset and yelling that we're sexist for wanting Dianne Feinstein out.
Yeah, we're sexist for other reasons.
Duh.
Well, that's the mod take. The mod take is the most shallow of takes of just like, oh, she's a girl, so there you go.
So you can play that game. You know what? We want a black woman who is older in the seat, so you're racist, mods.
Exactly.
Bam. Did you see in the SAC-B article about this topic that America's Landlord was quoted as
Steve Maviglio?
Yeah, as an expert, I guess. It says, other than Lee, Barbara Lee, Newsom's choices would include Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors member Holly Mitchell and San Francisco Mayor London Breed, said Stephen Maviglio, a California Democratic consultant. It goes on to say that Lee is running for the Senate in 2024, and an appointment this year, quote, would really propel her, period. It would help her fundraising immediately, said Maviglio. I love that they had a conversation with him about this, and that's the quote.
That's amazing. Wait, what piece was this? What outlet?
The B.
No shit.
Today. Yeah.
When will Dianne Feinstein return to the U.S. Senate?
Dianne Feinstein hasn't voted in the Senate since February. What happens if she steps down?
That's interesting.
You know what? We should just have a segment.
So that's Maviglio basically trying to not have Lee appointed.
Right. Just like grasping at any local officials who fit the identity, the requirement.
Yep. Steve, it's going to be a fun election season, man. This guy's such a
oh yeah, he has no idea.
I'm concerned for I got to start working on my heart health.
Yeah. I'm ready for some fights. I don't know, like he's such a little bitch. Did you know, like, you know how like all the like state journalists covering state politics, they're always like, oh, don't cross Steve Maviglio, blah 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 blah. Like,
don't cross him.
it's so silly to me because that little bitch has me blocked on Twitter. And the reason he has me blocked is because every time he says something dumb, I ask, hey, Steve, do you remember when you went on Fox 40 and claimed that a sexual assault victim was paid by Deadspin to come forward, which is true.
Kevin
Steve did
Johnson.
do that. So like, I don't know. I'm just fascinated that like mainstream periodicals still interview this guy when like that's the tenor of shit he says about victims.
Yeah, shit takes, and he keeps losing for office. Wow, what a pinnacle of local dem politics.
I wonder where he lives. Wasn't he running against Tamika Lecluse for the water?
Yep. Flood control.
Flood control, yeah.
Yeah.
She crushed you, Steve.
I know he has to take 50 to get home because he's always talking about 50.
Not 50, am I right? That's 16th Street exit, folks.
God dang it.
Got a Granite Bay house right next to not Sean Laloe.
I think Steve probably lives in Sacramento. I don't know. Is there anything else for us to talk about?
Sacramento and Italy. Is there anything else for us to talk about?
And New York.
Also that. No. Wow. I don't think there is.
We're like 40 minutes in. We gotta give them something. What's the deal?
Oh, Christ.
Darrell Steinberg, mayor of Sacramento.
What's the deal with him? Like this week or in general?
Just like, is he single?
No, he's married.
No. God, the first time I saw his wife on camera, I felt so bad for the poor woman just to deal with that ego. I can't even imagine constantly having to reassure him that he's a good person.
He at the housing element updates this week, they had sort of the breakdown of the housing that had and hadn't been built in 2022, because the state has mandated that they build like 58,000 housing units over the course of the next 8 years. And it looked at least that like the city was doing somewhat okay on like some of the lower income categories, although it was like totally not doing well on extremely low income building.
Weird.
But he like made a joke that he was like, oh, like maybe I'd like to get those slides from you because maybe I'll use them in a speech coming up sometime soon. And I was wondering if that meant that he's going to run for mayor again.
I mean, I kind of always think he's like Steve Hansen. He just can't say he's not going to run for mayor. He's just always, he's leaving everyone just on the edge of their seats.
He's a little, it's one of those will he, won't we things, and he likes the attention. He did that on Cap Radio the other day too.
He loves the attention. He fucking loves the attention. I think people would like maybe not obviously, people would potentially stop paying as much attention to him if he announced that he was not running in 2024. So like, I think that as long as he can keep people baited just a little bit, it works in his favor. Then he's still a very important person in Sacramento.
What does a Darrell Steinberg look like if he ends up not running and not getting appointed to anything? Like, where is he? Is he showing up at everything just to assert his
he is in the fetal position crying at home. Eating
life
DoorDash
out of the public
every
eye
day.
is like it's not a bad thing, man. Like, Darrell, you won't have to like argue with yourself on if you want to eject these very sincere trans activists from city council meetings. Like, that's a decision you don't have to make anymore once you're out the door.
Yeah.
Also,
public comment drops to 0 minutes.
Heard that. Also, when you're not mayor, like you are surrounded by people who like you the majority of the time because you're with people that are choosing to be with you. And this is a guy who is like ego central, right? Like he likes to be liked. And this is not to say that people don't like to be liked or whatever, but some people have the like, they're more fueled by that than others. He needs people to like him. Otherwise, I think he is a very sad man.
Okay,
So
do you think he runs?
I mean,
I literally have no idea. It's
with
50-50
Jeff
in my head.
running. I mean, they corner the market on old white guy.
I think Jeff would demur on that if Daryl ran again. I don't think Jeff or Steve run if Daryl throws his hat back in the ring. I'm talking Jeff Harris, Steve Hansen, folks, that former council members.
When you say demure, I immediately thought of like it's usually used in reference to women, and then which prompts in my head to go to the new AI images that are coming out with all of the Republican politicians dressed in drag, and my brain broke a little bit.
Oh, it's funny too because that's not actually the correct usage that I use.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but yeah, that's what it might brought in my brain.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't know, man. We got Maggie Krell, former cop, prosecutor, possibly throwing her hat in the ring. We've got
former sheriff.
I think he'll run.
You think he will?
I'm saying he's going to run.
Okay. We have.
I think if he sees no prospects on the horizon for being appointed to anything, then yeah, I could see that.
And if he doesn't run, then
I think it's damaging to his appointment, though, if he stays in office, like his possibility of being appointed.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, on the bonus, he gets the benefit of rose-colored glasses with reference to anything that he's done. Horrible. He's
kind of like between a rock and a hard place. He just wants to become a judge now, and like he doesn't want to. He doesn't want time between the two.
Right. Shit.
The problem is he's gotten some people saying scathing things about him in reference to his ability to make good choices, basically, with regards to his judgeship. Yeah.
Does he forget basic details of me?
Does he accidentally give $10,000 to what purports to be a puppy shelter that isn't actually zoned to be a puppy shelter? And
man, I love that inside Sacramento.
I totally forgot about this. I was like, where did I hear this before?
Yeah.
Folks, I don't know if you know, but there's a Instagram account called The People of Sacramento Scam. And it is run by a woman who very much does not like this young guy, Zane Silmy.
Yeah.
Who ran this like influencer People of Sacramento account that's like totally derivative of People of New York.
Oh yeah.
And he turned it into like a little store, like, in one of the new developments that like, it was like a former building that they were going to refurbish, but then like it just like conveniently went up in flames. Developers have no idea. They blamed it on a homeless person.
Well, that's the easy scapegoat. We love that.
Yeah, I mean, what's a little fraud between a couple of developers? Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm taking this off track. So he has done all this weird shit, including trying to have a animal shelter basically in his
in a strip
store.
mall.
Isn't that where it was supposed to be?
Yep.
Yeah.
And like it never happened. Like there was supposed to be a deal with the shelters, and like he got all these city leaders to come down. And anyway, that's not going well. And
no, he applied for PPP loans and got the loans based on his company's nonprofit status and having employees when they didn't have any employees, and he just wasn't paying taxes to the franchise tax board. There's a lot of fun stuff going on.
Right when he got the
just
PPP
seems like
loan, he got like a VW bug.
Yeah, that he put in
That bug is
downtown
still out
Plaza.
there.
It is,
and then
yeah,
Arden. Yeah.
on our street. Anyway,
That
yeah,
just
it's
like
not
leans
a good
in on
look
that
for
whole
city
like
leaders not
Yeah.
kind of doing their due diligence on that one.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, this People of Sacramento Scams person said that someone they knew was interviewed about, a potential judge position for the mayor. This is all gossip, so
Yes.
Take
it with a grain of salt.
I'm just
They're-
saying
yeah.
what they are alleging,
Right.
basically, on this account.
Just a little bit of hot goss.
But really, though, if you do like hot goss, because we don't really play in hot goss much on this show. We try and stick with things that we know are true. But boy, is that a fun account to follow. The People of Sacramento Scams.
Yes.
Yeah, for reals.
I don't think we have much more to cover today, guys.
Let's call it.
I think next week's going to be a real fun episode.
Can't wait.
And the week after that, another real fun episode. You know what? And the week after that,
I won't be here, but
that's why.
that's why, motherfucker. That's why.
That's why.
So, yeah, I guess let's call it today. And I think it's okay. We go over sometimes. Let's go under today.
Not damn. What a time to be alive.
Patreon.com/Voices River City, folks.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, folks. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye.